So, surprise, surprise. I mean, it's a surprise for people because we didn't announce this. We're just dropping this hot, right? That's what we're doing.
I am not pregnant. That's not the surprise.
No, the podcast.
I know, but I'm just saying.
They're gonna know because they're gonna be on the episode. So
it's just in case people do just.
So, why don't you introduce the name of the podcast? Did you forget?
Yes.
I'm keeping this in. Also, side note, I told you to introduce because I can't remember the exact wording.
Oh, okay, okay.
What was it?
I don't remember.
I keep thinking about Batman, the Brave and the Bold. It's not that, obviously. It's
This is embarrassing.
Brave, heroic, and good, or good, brave, and heroic.
I don't remember.
It's gonna be something with brave, something with heroic, and something with good. It was good, brave, and heroic. The good, brave, and heroic podcast. That's how it was.
All I can think of is The Good, Bad, and Ugly by Joshua Hoffman.
Good, bad. Can we ask him for licensing so we could sample him? No, but okay. So, if we end up calling it something else later on, some other
name?
No, not name. Order.
Oh.
If we do another order later on, don't blame me. But as far as I remember, it was the Good, Brave, and Heroic podcast. And this is a conversation we had maybe like a year ago.
A while ago. That's why we can't remember.
Yeah, but we just knew that this was something that we wanted to do. And we also don't have it fully figured out, but we wanted to just get started with it because we wanted to do something together. But do you want to take people through how it kind of started and why it's called that? Why are you looking at me like that? You looked at me like a little bit about how the name came to be and kind of what it means. We'll go from there.
Okay, The Good, Bad, and Ugly keeps repeating in my head.
Shout out to Josh.
Okay, so I do remember specifically. The idea came while we were driving from somewhere to somewhere. And
I don't remember either where it was.
We were in the car, you were driving, and we were just talking, and we were just excited about having these different platforms available to us for us to just share things. And by no means do we feel like we're experts on anything. I think that being able to have something like a podcast or a YouTube channel or even like Instagram and so on is just like a really useful tool to just share, whether it is on some kind of expertise or just life itself, or your own life specifically. And so we were excited, and you started talking to me about your dreams on doing a podcast together, and I instantly felt the same desire, because it was we just have such good conversations when we can have them, now that we have kids. And it's not about Encanto or Baby Shark. So
I don't have much to say about Baby Shark, to be honest.
No. Although this morning Kaya took the little magnet toys, and she gave one to Lily. She took one herself, gave one to me, put it on her head, and said, "Mommy, Baby Shark." Bruh. So she started singing. Anyway, so we were just talking about how it would be really cool to just have a very a formal way of informally being able to have conversations in a very casual way. And so you talked to me about how you had a name in your head already. You shared it with me. And the way that it came to your mind was you were thinking about how good God is. So there's good.
There's good.
And then how God calls us to be brave and heroic. And being brave has a really special meaning to me now. As you know, I think God introduced that concept to me.
I don't know. Why don't you tell me about it? That sounds fairly interesting, young lady.
Why? He introduced that concept to me back in like 2016, 2017. As many of you probably already know from either his sermons or his Valley of the Valley the Valley of the Heroic channel. We were going through a very rough time in 2016, and in my journey with God through that, in my private relationship with God, God introduces to me what it means to be brave, and then he takes that, and as God does, he applies it deeper into my life, and gives me the phrase "bravely you," and I'm like, that is really cool.
I love that phrase so much.
I do too. And there are a lot of ideas and plans and things that God starts flooding me with, and I'm excited for. But of course, before doing anything formal with something like that, God drills this stuff into me and has been working in my life, working that concept in my life and what that means and what it means to be brave and what it means to be bravely myself, not just being brave.
Yeah. I was actually going to say, because I feel like this was such a gift from God to you, right? Like, it's not just a phrase, it's not just a title, it's not any of those things. I mean, it is, but it's not just those things. Mm-hmm. It's a gift. So, like, for you, when God gave that to you, what did it mean when he told you, bravely you? What does that mean to you?
It means a lot of things that I think I'm still trying to unpack, which I know that long term it'll turn into something. What that something is, I don't have ideas exactly, or concrete ideas, but I know that for me that means re-identifying and redefining myself through the lens of bravery. And that just goes across like just being who am I as a mom, outside of being a mom, as a wife, and how can I, or as a daughter, as a friend, as an employee, as whatever it is, how can I be myself, fully myself, without hiding, be myself out loud, and doing that without any timidity or shyness, being courageous about it, being brave about it. I think that answers the question.
Yeah.
So back to the original question. So we took that concept and included that in the title. And then heroic, because as you already know, that stems from Valley of the Heroic, and that has its own story too, which I don't know if maybe you want to share on that. But
yeah, absolutely, because I'm not gonna assume that people have been to my channel, but the lean over and so for me, it's really just, it also was from God, 2018-ish, I think it was. After my battle against depression and us getting to a better place in our marriage after almost losing each other because of my depression, and just the way that I was. we go to a new church, right? And after a while, I go to preach again, and it was my first sermon. And it was titled Valley of the Heroic. And the whole concept of it was that God uses your pain in the valley as you go through the valley to give you voice, to make you more bravely you, in a way, actually. As you come to know him and find him in the valley, everybody kind of sees. You have is juxtaposition the right word when you two opposing concepts, right? I want to sound smart right now, but I'm at risk of sounding dumb of using the word incorrectly. But you have that opposition between the valley and the mountain, right? The valley symbolizing low places of pain, the mountain symbolizing arriving and feeling great and getting there, or however it is that we want to call it. And so what I really want to do, as God gave this to me now, later on it became the YouTube channel and stuff like that, and our business, is really to help people to understand their pain, to help them to better understand Jesus, to find that, to realize that they can find Jesus in their pain, in their valley, and that he can lead them up to the mountain, that you don't want to go there without him, basically. And so, yeah, like you were saying, like it brings the whole thing together, because we have brave and heroic, which is something that God gave us and has become a large part of our identity, because it's a gift from him. And then you have his goodness. And so, and on top of that, he's all of those things.
Right.
He is good. He is brave. He is heroic. So he serves as our ultimate example of all of those things. And that's very important in our lives. And I think that for me, when I think about that, like one of the things that we want to share with everybody is the fact that we're starting this without really, we don't have a topic.
We don't necessarily have like a
theme,
a category.
Right. This is not a marriage podcast, right? Like, what's the one we used to listen to? Fiercely Marriage, right?
Fierce
Marriage. Yeah.
Sorry.
Or like The Basement, which is all about like vulnerability, or even my Valley of the Road podcast, which is all about just talking to people about their journey with Jesus. And it's Christian content. Or like your thing is social work, right? So it's not really any of those things, but I feel like it's just going to be an outpouring of our lives. And that means that we may touch on things like our faith. We will touch on things like parenting, marriage, topics that are currently happening in the world that we're passionate about. And if you rock with that, then dope. If not, then I don't know if this is for you, but we really wanted to introduce everybody to it today and kind of give you guys an opportunity to get an idea of what this might become. Yeah,
so I guess you could think about it more like a live conversation.
Yeah.
It's just conversations with that include a little bit of everything. It's
the computer screen is bothering me. Sorry.
It's a conversation that will just happen, and it'll include a little bit of us and our lives as Christians, as Latinos, as Americans, as parents, as children, citizens, as employees, business owners. Whatever it is, it's all that.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the things I don't even want to leave this to the end, but sometimes people click out on that last part where you're outroing.
Who outros like this?
Outro. Say nah. But yeah, if you're listening right now and there's just like something that you're interested in us talking about, or maybe like I don't know, I'm just imagining somebody that is your friend that doesn't necessarily know me, maybe I don't know, and they just really enjoy hearing you talk about a certain thing. Whatever it is, like just share with us in the comments, or shoot us a DM, whatever, mention it to us. We really want to invite that. It'll actually be super, super helpful, because then we'll kind of know what people would be interested in hearing. You know, to this day, if I'm not mistaken, our podcast episode on my podcast has the most views. So that's like telling. Like I just, and we have to do an episode about how we held back and why we held back. I don't know if we'll do that here or over there. Not sure. But either way, we would love to hear from people just about some of the things they'd like to hear about.
Yeah, and this is still a developing thing, so we'll see what this turns into and what happens.
Yeah. But one thing I do know is that we are committed to having the conversations, talking about the things, all of the things, so you guys can press all of the buttons, and we're excited about that because I think that this is just something that God placed in our heart, and hopefully it can help some people. Some people could really not just enjoy it, but be blessed by it.
Yeah, think about it as like we're all hanging out.
Yeah, I like that. We're all hanging out. We're just talking, and we'll see where this goes.
And if you want to hang out, we just gotta find babysitters.
Oh my goodness. That's so true though. I love my babies, and when I'm away from them, I miss them. But then sometimes I'm like, I just need to, go get a Starbucks drink with my wife.
Without running and rushing.
Without running and without Lily in the back complaining because she's been in the car for 3 minutes and 40 seconds. She does not like the car. Okay, we're trailing off, but you think this is a good place to end?
Yeah.
All right, so thank you guys for being here for our first episode. I know that we didn't cover much, but we just wanted to give you guys an introduction. And splash, this just like randomly out of nowhere surprise episode, whole podcast dropping out of nowhere. Bam!
Why are you like this? You got an outro.
Oh, okay, so now I'm gonna do my outro.
Question is, will you do this on Valley of the Heroic too?
I don't know. Maybe this is just maybe this is just a good, brave, and heroic thing. We need to have Josh just come in and just do an intro song for us.
Right.
I don't know if he'll do it, but anyways, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm outroing the way I do for my Valley of the Rogue podcast, and I don't want to, so I'm going to give it to Joe to outro.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Was I not recording the whole time?
No way. No way.